So here I am coming at you with yet another 22 long rifle offering. Why the heck am I doing so much of that recently? Well, number one, I think I've got a little bit of a bug for these things. Here's the latest. It's the Remington 552 Speedmaster, which is a gun that's been produced since the late 50s, 56 or 57, from Remington. And back in the heyday of Remington, certainly in the 50s and the 60s, maybe a little bit different company than it is now. But why all these 22s, do you ask? Well, there's a couple of reasons. It's number one, very cheap to shoot these days compared to just about everything else. In addition to that, they're fun guns and I enjoy them. So I've got the Speedmaster loaded up. Very nice tube-fed type of scenario, and very simple old-school cocking mechanism. And we're going to see how she does in cycling around. It's from 1961. It's another one of these dang rifles that's older than me. I'm 1963 and functions flawlessly. And that's the thing I always worry about with a semi-auto loader. Is it going to do what it's supposed to do? And with this blowback operation and simple design, which we'll get into, it's really cool to see that. Well, hey guys, it's Dr. Drake 63 here again today. Thanks for joining me on the channel. Today, I've got another one of those old guns, and in keeping with the theme of a lot of my recent videos, I've got another old 22. This very light in hand firearm is called the Remington Speedmaster, and this particular rifle is a 22 that will handle 22 short, long, and 22 long rifles. So, and it's a semi-automatic. So, unlike a lot of the semi-automatics that you're going to see out there, this can handle all sorts of different ammo, and it's a tube-fed. And my understanding is it's the only tube-fed rifle that will handle the various 22 sizes. Now, this one is from 1961, and it's in fairly good condition. It's got a period-correct 4x Bushnell scope on it. You're also going to see that it does have some beauty marks on it. Here's a scratch from the previous owner. Now, I picked this one up from a guy who, his dad was the original owner, and squirrel hunted with this for years. And just overall, it's in great shape. It's a gun I'd feel real comfortable just taking out in the field in basically any weather. If I was doing something like squirrel hunting, I don't. But rabbit hunting, I'd like to, and but mostly my use for 22s is for plinking and working on my marksmanship to get me ready for the big calibers for deer season and things of that nature. But we're gonna talk about this a little bit today. We're gonna check the function shooting it, and we're gonna show you how this thing takes down. Stay tuned. Now, as I mentioned, this seems to be in fairly good condition. Don't see any rust issues on it or anything like that. The wood's in fairly good shape. And, you know, as I mentioned, there is a pretty good scratch on there that's not going anywhere. This gun has been in production since, I believe, 1956, 1957. You can still get them today if you can find them. Obviously, over the years, Remington's done stuff like gone to a plastic trigger guard instead of this metal one. What's interesting about this is on most of the ones I've seen, it has a serial number stamped right under the Speedmaster. And on this one, I'm assuming it's under the scope. It's nowhere on the barrel. But this is a really cool little rifle. You can pick these up new today for about, somewhere in the neighborhood of $600. But when I did some checking, they weren't in stock. As you can see, it's got a nice buckhorn type rear sight that's adjustable for elevation. And on the front here, it's got a nice little gold bead. But I'm going to leave the scope on this one just for fun. I was taking this when I was testing out earlier, and I was repeatedly hitting the same pop can at 100 yards, standing up on its side, you name it, one right after the other. So it seems like it's fairly accurate. You can see some stamping marks on there. And here's your charging handle. Now, something that's a little bit different on these firearms, you're going to notice right here. It's got a shell deflector that's part of the firearm. I guess you could take that off. I won't. I'm going to guess that this is probably fairly dirty on the inside. And we're going to take this four stock off and take a look and get this cleaned up a little bit. And that's going to be accomplished real easily simply by taking down with this screw right here. Now, I'm a guy that kind of learned the hard way. You can booger up screws if you don't use the right kind of bit. And these are gunsmithing screwdriver bits. They're hollow ground. And this fits in here nice and tight, so I don't have to worry about marring it up. And how many of you guys have bought used guns and seen that's exactly what the situation is? It gets marred up and deformed to a degree, and for me, that's a no-go. I can't tell you how many, especially like old revolvers, Smith & Wessons, Colts, things like that, that's exactly the case, which is very unfortunate. But this seems to be threaded in there pretty good. So we're going to keep going. As you can see right here, this just lifts up and I slide it forward a little bit. And you can see what we're looking at right here. You have a very long action spring that is basically what makes everything go. Like I said, it's a blowback mechanism, and I can see some areas right in here where I'm going to want to clean that up and things of that nature. You can see right off the bat, there's some dirt in there. Let's get my little trusty flashlight on here, and we'll show you. Who knows when this has been cleaned? And you can see this is some dirty stuff. So we're going to wipe that stuff down really good. Now, this is an interesting thing, and I should have taken the tube out first, but this is the end of your tube, your plunger. And instead of having like a plastic or metal cap on it, you get this thing. And it kind of wiggles around a little bit. And I think that probably helps adjust, which is why this happens to be one of the more dependable, by reputation, semi-auto loaders. You can see that right there. But as you can see, you slide that forward, and that's how you are able to get your bolt mechanism out. Here's your charging handle, and that slides back and forth. And here's your bolt. You can see it's got a very large single extractor claw. Inside of here, you'll notice where your firing pin comes forward and so forth. So, very simple design, but you can see it's dirty. Look at that. So, imagine that's easy enough to clean. Here's a better look at the internal workings, which I have not cleaned yet. Your bolt reciprocates just like that. Here's the end of your tube magazine. Here's that spring, and then here's your charging handle. All of these are real dirty. And when you see my my test shooting of this from earlier, I did so prior to cleaning it. So that kind of is a testament to the design of this gun, that it can be this dirty and shoot semi-auto one right after the other without any kind of hang-ups or jams. As you can see, I'm knocking a lot of built-up gunk off using this brass brush. A little bit better view of the ejector. It's got a nice strong spring on it, and it's a little bit on the oversized side, but hey, when you're shooting a semi-auto, you don't want extraction problems, so you want a system that's designed well. I've still got some work to do to clean this up. Even a little bit left in this recess here where I just knocked a ton of built up carbon and whatnot, dirt off. So, like I said, it worked. It worked without being clean. That's a sign of a good design. Well, here's something kind of cool. As gross and dirty as that gun was, the bore is perfect. That's what you want to see, right? What I actually did was ran a bore snake. Usually I go from the bore through the end, and I did it backwards because I didn't want to pull all that crap through the barrel that might still be in there. So just about got this cleaned up. It's amazing what forged metal parts, how they hold up. So here's your bolt again, pretty much cleaned up. Looks like I've got a little bit of goop down there to get off. You see your firing pin is right here. And we got this a lot cleaner, so said looks like we've got a little bit of crud to brush out there. This I had to hit with a wire brush. Man, was it dirty. And pretty simple design. Simple's good. Less stuff to break. Well, off to the range we go, shooting at 50 yards indoors, and today we're going to try out 5 different kinds of ammo. We've got the Federal 36 grain hollow point, the CCI Mini Mags, always my favorites. We've got the Winchester hollow points and 2 different Aquila offerings. One of them is target match, and the other one is just a standard 40 grain. So these are my 50-yard indoor results today, and I zeroed this rifle using the Federal, pretty cheap stuff, 36 grain hollow points, and you can see where I kind of was all over the place with this. Certainly not what I'm used to with a 22 at that range. And like I said, you know, this required some zeroing, zeroed to here, got it up and settled right about there, but a pretty wide dispersion, so I wasn't real impressed. Then I went to the CCI Mini Mag, and this is a 10-shot group, and you really see where it's doing what it's supposed to do. You got several flyers, but there you go. Over to the Aquila 40 grain, Aquila, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Same point of zero, shoots a little bit to the left, group's okay. Again, not as good as the CCI. The Winchester 36 grain is a 9-shot group, and so-so. Then went to the Aquila 22 rifle match, which is standard velocity, and again, okay. So I decided, let's see what the CCI does. So I did a 5-shot group here. That's more like it. Here's another 5-shot group with a couple flyers. And I decided let's load the tube up, take all 15 rounds, and I'm fairly impressed with that. I will say that that the trigger on this particular firearm is pretty stiff. And it's definitely not a target trigger. It's not a light trigger, and I think between that and an optic that I probably wouldn't have spec'd, not the best. But you know, taking some time, using the ammo the gun likes, and it cycled everything well, like I said. I'll take that for a 15-shot group at 50. So overall, the Remington 552 Speedmaster is a fun gun to shoot, without a doubt. Very lightweight in hand. Is it going to compete on an accuracy basis with my CZ 457 bolt gun? No. I don't believe that it's as accurate a platform as that Mossberg 44 US property trainer that you've seen recently in videos. That thing's a dang accurate gun, but it comes with a few more pounds than this at the same point as a target rifle. This is a great plinking gun, and that's what I've noticed more than anything else. This is something that'd be really handy, really easy to take with you, whether you're doing some small game hunting in the woods, whether you just want to go out and blow up soda cans or whatever. I do believe it's got some potential as a better target shooter than what I was able to achieve today. A lot of that has to do with this scope, this really small eyepiece. I struggle with that a bit. And, you know, we still need to continue to look at different ammo choices, but very clear this thing likes CCI the best, the CCI Target 40 grain. And that's what we'll probably focus on with that, is in terms of knowing that it's going to hit that bullseye. But fun gun to shoot, the Remington 552 Speedmaster. You can still get them. Suggest you get a chance to shoot one of these or pick one of these up. You won't be disappointed. As far as semi-auto 22s go, it's got a reputation for being very reliable, and you saw how this functioned, flawless. I think I did have one round of the Winchester with those kind of funky, flat, hollow points that I've had trouble with in other firearms, where the tolerances are tight enough here, the bolt didn't quite close on just one of the rounds. So that could be an ammunition situation as well. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me today. It's Dr. Drake 63 saying, keep shooting, guys, be safe, and we'll see you soon.